feeling right. Either you or maybe someone you know, they mess up, they apologize,
Mm-hmm.
and they really seem to mean it.
Mm-hmm.
Sincere regret.
Mm-hmm.
But then, maybe not the next day, but soon enough, the same thing happens again, or something pretty similar.
Yeah, that cycle. It's familiar.
It's so frustrating to think, we dealt with this. We said sorry, we moved on.
Yeah.
But something's clearly not changing deep down. So
Yeah.
what is going on there? Let's unpack this.
Okay.
Today we're doing a deep dive into, well, the surprising truth behind apologies. We're going to look at why just saying I'm sorry, those two little words, why that isn't always enough, not for real lasting change anyway.
Right.
Our mission here is to get past that surface level stuff, the immediate regret, and really dig into the mechanics of actual remorse, forgiveness, and genuine transformation. We're using insights from this really thought-provoking source, excerpts from Just Saying I Am Sorry Is Not Always Good Enough.
Interesting title.
It is, isn't it? So if you've ever wondered why some apologies just feel a bit hollow, or maybe why you keep falling into the same old habits even though you really don't want to, this deep dive is definitely for you. We're looking for understanding here, not just a Band-Aid fix.
Makes sense.
So let's jump straight in. The source brings up what it calls the apology paradox. We've all seen it, right? You get an apology, feels totally sincere, or you give one, and you absolutely mean it.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, that same behavior often comes back.
Yeah.
So the big question is, why? If you're truly sorry, why wouldn't that be enough to stop it from happening again? What's missing?
That's really the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the source draws this really crucial distinction. It says, an apology might be good enough to get forgiveness from the person you offended.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense for fixing the relationship right then.
Exactly. It heals that immediate hurt, repairs the external connection, but, and this is the kicker the source argues, it's not enough to, quote, free one from the trait that caused the offense.
Ah, okay. So the apology hits the symptom, the offense itself?
Right, but not the underlying cause, not the character trait or the impulse behind the action. And what's really fascinating is that the source emphasizes that getting free from that persistent trait, that's actually of greater importance to the individual. It's about your own inner freedom, more than just making peace externally.
Wow, okay. That distinction feels really important. It's so easy to just focus on the apology, the outward fix.
Totally.
But like you said, it's like patching a leak without figuring out why the pipe burst in the first place. So what happens then if we only do the apology part? If we skip that deeper work? What are the consequences?
Well, consequence is pretty much staying stuck in that cycle we talked about. If that underlying trait, whatever it is, just persists, you're almost guaranteed to offend again.
Right.
And then you apologize again, maybe you get forgiven again. But the source uses this interesting phrase. It says, we keep tying ourselves to the earth and its environment, the world of matter.
World of matter, what does that mean exactly?
It basically means the realm of our physical actions and their visible results, the day-to-day stuff. So by only dealing with the surface action, we're kind of stuck in this loop, this material cause and effect cycle. We can't really move to a, let's say, higher level of inner freedom until we tackle the root cause within us. We're kind of anchored to the very behavior we want to escape.
That image, tying ourselves to the earth, that really lands.
Yeah.
It captures that feeling of being stuck, like you said, on a hamster wheel. Apology, repeat, apology, repeat.
Exactly.
And this cycle, this is where the source points out an unrecognized danger, a kind of trap we fall into without even noticing. And this is where it gets really interesting.
Right.
The danger, it says, comes because we're often so quick to apologize, so focused on the offense we caused, that we fail to reflect upon what motivated our action. We're just cleaning up the mess,
Yeah.
but we never ask, wait, why did I spill this in the first place?
Yes, precisely. That's a great way to put it. The source suggests our rush to apologize can actually block deeper self-awareness. And what's fascinating is how it pushes us to look inward.
Right.
It gives some really clear examples, like lashing out in anger at someone could be caused by a feeling of insecurity, prideful hurt, or envy.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
So you apologize for the anger, the outburst, and you mean it. But if that insecurity or that wounded pride or the envy is still simmering underneath, well, that anger is probably going to bubble up again somehow.
Makes sense.
So the source says real change starts when we first reflect deeply within us for what motivated our action. It's about peeling back those layers, finding the actual root of why we did what we did.
So it's not just sorry for what I did, but understanding why I did it. Hunting for that hidden motivation. Okay. So how does doing that actually help us change? I mean, reflecting deeply sounds good, But how does it translate into stopping the behavior?
Yeah, it can sound a bit abstract, I get that, but the source connects it directly to taking action. It says, only in recognizing this motivation that a sincere person can begin to tackle the evil behind the action.
Evil behind the action. That sounds pretty intense.
It does sound dramatic, yeah. But I think the source uses evil here to mean those less than ideal motivations. You know, the insecurity, the envy, maybe a need for control, pride, the things that fuel the harmful outward actions.
Gotcha. So it's not about being capital evil, but recognizing those negative drivers within us.
Exactly. And it's not about some big public confession either. It's about honest, brave self-assessment, just looking squarely at what's going on inside. Once you see that motivation, then you can start working on it directly.
Okay.
And the source is realistic. It says this process, this tackling the root cause, should gradually lead to fewer and fewer recurrences of offensive actions. It's not instant magic. It's a path, a steady work towards real freedom.
That feels much more achievable, actually, gradual progress. Okay, but then the source kind of zooms out, doesn't it? It brings in this bigger concept, the laws of creation. How on earth do these universal laws connect to me apologizing for snapping at someone? Feels like a huge jump.
It does feel like a big leap, but it's actually a really insightful connection the source makes. It says, get this, the effects of the laws of creation are influenced only by the motivation behind our actions.
Only by the motivation, not the action itself.
That's the really surprising twist. It suggests the universe, or these fundamental laws, aren't just reacting to what we do, but deeply reacting to why we do it, the intention, the energy behind it.
Wow.
Think of these laws less like rules handed down and more like, I don't know, the operating system of reality, impersonal principles of cause and effect. And true forgiveness, or what the source calls the balancing out of the effects of our actions, that's actually carried out by these laws. Our human apologies are important for us, for relationships, but they don't automatically erase the cosmic consequences set in motion by our inner motivations.
That's, yeah, humbling is the word. So it's not just, I said, sorry, universe, we're good now. There's a deeper balancing act happening based on our inner state.
Pretty much, yeah.
Can you give a more concrete example? Like how this law of sowing and reaping the source mentions actually works?
Sure. The source uses the law of sowing and reaping as a key example. And it's crucial to see it not as punishment, but as experiential learning.
No.
Through this law, it says we're given the opportunity to experience the nature of our activities and motivations, and to then make a voluntary change in those motivations. So imagine someone who, maybe unconsciously, often acts dismissively towards others. Their motivation might be subtle disregard, not intentional malice.
Right.
Over time, through this law of sowing and reaping, they might just find themselves in situations where they keep getting dismissed. Their ideas are ignored, they feel unheard. It's not random payback, it's the law acting like a mirror.
Ah, I see.
It lets them feel the nature of the energy they've been putting out, the seeds they've sown, and that experience gives them the chance, the impetus, to consciously choose a different way, to sow respect instead of dismissal. It's a feedback loop for growth.
That makes the whole laws of creation idea feel much more grounded, less cosmic doom, more like a system for self-correction built into things.
Exactly. It's about learning and evolving.
Now, thinking about forgiveness again, we usually focus on the victim forgiving the offender, but does the act of forgiving only help the person who was hurt? Or does the source suggest it ripples outwards?
Oh, it definitely ripples outwards. The source is quite clear the benefits are mutual, which is really beautiful. It says a victim who genuinely chooses to forgive, they also benefit immensely through the activity of other laws of creation from this voluntary decision to forgive.
How so?
Well, it's an act of inner liberation for them too, right? Choosing to let go of resentment, that's a powerful positive energy they generate for themselves. It helps their own spiritual path.
Okay. And what about the offender? Does the victim's forgiveness impact them beyond just relief?
It absolutely can. The source says that for a sincere offender, in being put to shame by such magnanimous act, meaning when they see the grace and generosity of being forgiven, they may feel a deep twinge of conscience that compels a regenerative process within.
So the act of being forgiven can actually trigger that deeper change we were talking about.
It can be a powerful catalyst, yes. That unexpected kindness can spark that internal reckoning, that desire to truly become better. It's a really potent feedback loop for healing on both sides.
Yeah, it's a wonderful perspective, a cycle of mutual benefit. Okay, but let's drill down one more time. What does the source say is the absolute most sure way to get free from these persistent negative traits? This evil behind the action. Is it about big declarations or something else?
This really gets to the heart of profound change, doesn't it? And the source offers a truly striking answer. It says the most assured path to freedom from any evil is the awakening of a deep and sincere sense of shame at harboring such emotion within.
Shame. That sounds negative. Usually we think of shame as destructive.
Right, and we need to be careful here. This isn't the crippling, public, guilt-ridden shame we often mean. The source presents it differently. It's more like a profound internal recognition of misalignment, a deep, honest moment where your innermost self, your spirit, the source calls it, recognizes and recoils from that negative motivation you've been carrying.
So it's an internal sense of, this isn't right, this isn't me.
Exactly. A deep, private reckoning. And the source stresses how private this is. It says, no one needs to know this. Your spirit will, and the laws of creation will take effect accordingly. So no need to engage in any open acts of true confession.
Wow, no public performance needed.
None at all. It's about that silent, powerful internal shift, that deep honesty with yourself that genuinely sparks lasting change from the inside out. That internal shame, in this sense, is the catalyst. It's the thing that ignites real personal transformation.
That's incredibly powerful. The idea that the deepest work, the most guaranteed path, is actually private.
Yeah.
The universe, these laws, respond to that inner integrity whether anyone else sees it or not. It's, yeah, a call for real self-honesty.
Profound self-integrity.
So wrapping this up, this deep dive has really shown us something crucial, hasn't it? Apologies, absolutely vital. Essential for healing relationships, for showing respect, for fostering forgiveness between people.
For sure.
But true freedom from repeating the same mistakes.
Yeah.
That comes from a much deeper internal journey. It's about that hard, honest look at our real motivations. The evil behind the action, as the source puts it.
Right.
It's about letting that deep, private, transformative sense of shame, that inner recoil, actually spark real change in how we are, how we act. And all of this, the source suggests, happens within this larger framework, these impartial laws of creation that are responding to our inner world, our why, not just our what.
Well summarized.
So here's a thought to leave you with. Next time you catch yourself about to apologize, or maybe even just feeling that old urge, that impulse to act in a way you know you might regret, just pause for a second. Can you try and identify the real motivation on the surface? What evil behind the action might your own spirit be nudging you to finally face? Not for anyone else's sake, not for the apology, but for your own profound freedom, for lasting internal change. That's definitely something worth reflecting on, isn't it?
It certainly is. A lot to think about there.